Welcome to another edition of Yacht Life Chronicles, where we are better together than separated. We have a wonderful and inspiring guest on the show today. He goes by the name of Chuckie Lawrence. He's a community philanthropist. He's a genuine guy. He's well beloved by the community. The community deify him a lot. He's bringing things to the community that has never been done. From his partying, from 40 and over. So don't come to his parties thinking y'all can get in. If you're 36, 37, you got to be 40. Right. Grown and sexy. Throwing this kickball tournament. Just being an inspiration, man, upon, the masses. And I wanted to bring him in today. And I wanted to sit down and talk to him about some things that's going on in life, And one of the things we was just talking about is that, a lot of people call themselves OGs, and he was saying that, OG don't mean original gangster. It means that you've outgrown something. So we're going to let him introduce himself and who he is, and let pass the mic to you, man. You want to introduce yourself?
Chuckie Lawrence, born and raised here in Saginaw, Michigan. Pleasure to take the opportunity to speak to you, brother. Thank you for
and I thank you for showing up, man. I thank you for coming.
Hopefully something that we say today would resonate in somebody's mind, man, and make a difference.
Yeah. And I just, first of all, I want to say, we appreciate what you're doing for the city. Things that, because, being a pillar in the city, being a community philanthropist, we need that. Because in Saginaw, so much negativity, a lot of things going on, and it's not enough togetherness.
Yeah.
And me and you have something in common, with my podcast. I try to bring people together with we better together than separated. And then with the things that you're doing and the things you're bringing to the light with your parties, your kickball. That was just one of the most special and unique things, man. When I pulled up there, man, to see vendors up there, see everybody getting along, and he bringing people out I haven't seen in a long time. Right. Through a kickball tournament.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So tell us a little bit about that, Chuckie, man. How did that idea just came to fruition?
Well, bro, okay. So I started thinking about things that we can do in the community, man, to bring us together. The truth of it is, especially on our side of the bridge, the way that they demonize and stereotypically characterize us and the behavior of what they can expect out of that side of the bridge is unfair to me. So I was thinking, man, let me think of something simple, and I went back to my childhood, and I was like, man, kickball. Everybody used to be involved in kickball. You didn't need a special skill set. Everybody could play, and most of the time, man, on a hot summer day, our neighborhoods, weren't separated from other neighborhoods. So you might have somebody pull up, and on their bike and see y'all already playing. They might actually join in, drop their bike. Everybody's front yard used to be full of bikes. And the next thing you know, here you go. You got a kickball game. So if you had a freeze cup house, a candy house, and a kickball game, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everything was all
three
good.
basic necessities to fun.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Fun.
So I started doing my research, and I reached out to one of my partners, Bud Pratt. He had already tried to do it, but the COVID had kicked in, so he was like, bro, you know what I'm saying? I already have plans for that day, but I'll do everything I can to support you, and help you push it. And then I reached out to Letitia Whitehead, because Letitia Whitehead had tried to do one before.
Okay.
And I figured, okay, let me get the people involved that, you know what I'm saying, that now through my research, I find out had an interest in doing the same thing.
Right.
Because collectively, ideas shared bring masses together, and that creates success.
And it's crazy that you say that, because a lot of people would have took that idea and went on and utilized it for themselves.
Yeah.
Instead of, bringing people or researching and see who was interested in this, to be able to help them bring their dream to life. And that's so interesting because, like I say, you know, a lot of people have dreams,
Right.
you know, and it take for sometimes other people to come in and help bring that dream to fruition.
True indeed.
You
True
know,
indeed.
and that's why I say, you know, people like you, man, are so special in the city of Saginaw. You know, you're not just thinking about yourself.
Nah.
You don't have a me personality.
No.
You have a we you know,
A we.
together
A
we personality.
Yeah, because you have to have that, because guess what? Everything that benefits the community affects us. Everything that hurts our community, you know, takes from the community. The things that we lack in our community is with us. Everybody shares the same gas stations and grocery stores, bro.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So there, you know what I'm saying, there is nothing like, you know, and like I said, once I started getting out there with the idea, I called my partner, you know what I'm saying, and I said, hey, you know what I'm saying, hey Rob, you know, everybody know Miss Disco. I said, man, why don't we get together and put Central and Weber against each other? And I said, I've been throwing it out there. I've been kind of feeding it out there. I'm getting a lot of hype behind it. And you know, and then he was like, yeah, bet, bro. And so originally when I was younger, Central and Weber was the beef, you know what I'm saying? And
it was the rivalry,
right?
yeah.
That was the true rivalry, you know what I'm saying? Because you had so many great athletes coming out of there. Not saying that the other schools didn't, because we have BV, we have great athletes that have come out of BV and you know, saying North, you know what I'm saying, and blah blah blah. But what we did was we found out, you know, I found out in talking to him that him and another one of his friends, good friends, had the idea to do it before, and he was like, well, let's bring, you know, what do you think about bringing, you know, yeah, exactly. Well, then once we put it out there, all the other schools appreciated it. Why? Because everybody knows that, you know, our age group, your age group and on, when we were younger, kickball was fun. So no matter what school you went to, whether it was South, North, BV, Ricker, whomever, everybody shared in that, you know, that fun, the nostalgia of a simple kickball game. So it wasn't hard to get people to say, I'm with that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, everybody just jumped on board. Every school wanted to be involved. And so, you know, that's what you saw out there that day. You saw this, you know, the city come together, which is something I think that we all should be proud of, and not lose focus of what we accomplished out there that day. We accomplished something that ain't been done in the city of Saginaw in years and years.
Right.
And that is to come together. I mean, if you saw it out there that day, it was just love on each other. Everybody shaking hands, the crap talking during the games, but then the love after the games. You know, it was,
and playing in the wood. It had went the rain, and nobody left.
And then, you know, it was my ultimate goal. I don't really know what everybody's ultimate goal was, but, you know what I'm saying? But there are a lot of different things that went with that, and that was fun. That was the unity, and then it was us in a unified fashion as a community of people who are often looked at as being unable to do that without incident. So that's my, you know what I'm saying, that's my biggest thing, and I tell people that all the time.
Yeah, and that's just, you know, going against the grain and pushing against the narrative and the stereotypes of, you know, what's being portrayed in the city, because, you know, it's a lot of division, you know what I'm saying, but it's a lot of togetherness as well. And
the division by choice, though. See, we don't have to, and if I can be totally transparent,
go ahead.
One of my biggest problems with us, especially as African American men, we succumb to these stereotypical ideas that are perpetuated in the movies and music as to how we're supposed to deal with each other, interact with each other, and see each other. And the thing that hurts me the most is all of those rules that govern us in the street that lead us to prison aren't even the rules inside of prison. See, in prison, Saginaw is made to stick together. It's an expectation. It's an unwritten rule, but it's not in the MDOC handbook. A judge doesn't tell you that at sentencing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a mindset that's easily changed by willingness to receive that. So why in the world do we as African American men not push that same narrative in the streets? You know what I'm saying? To strengthen, to truly strengthen us as men by not becoming incarcerated, by not having our mothers not having to bury their children. You know what I'm saying? Because you know this same forced and accepted mentality in prison is a free choice out here in the streets, and it never leads you to prison.
And you know, and it's crazy because that you say that, because when I was in prison, you know, I was. You know, a guy had committed a murder, you know, and, you know, he was shooting at another guy.
Okay.
And the guy that he was shooting at, he ended up going to prison, and the guy he was shooting at, he ended up going to prison. And we ended up riding a quarantine together.
Okay.
You know, and they was in the streets and they was ops. And here it is, we in Jackson quarantine, and we walk in the yard together. Yeah. You know, and it made me think to myself, like, does this beef stuff even, you know, like, what's the point in it? You know, here it is, he got life. Here it is, the other one got life for what he did. You know, they was beefing in the streets, but beefing with each other. And now all three of us is walking the Jackson Yard together. Yeah. Yeah. They talking to each other like they known each other for years. You know, but they was in prison for each other. You know, what do you think, man, that it's going to take, man, for a lot of this beefing and gang banging, man, in the city to kind of like come to an end?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I feel, and this is to all of the kings out there that's listening to me. We have to get away from projecting what we know to be false onto ourselves and onto our youth. Number two, it takes guys like yourself that even though you went to prison, look at what you're doing now. You have an access and an opportunity, and you're pushing, you know what I'm saying, the idea of unity through your podcast, you know, and what you say all the time is true. Right. More us together is better than us as individuals. Separated, yeah. And if you think about it, that's exactly what motivates the prison mentality that Saginaw sticks together. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Yeah. And so what we have to do is we have to get to the point where we start telling our young black men, young man, it is okay not to take a life chance. It's okay to work for, you know what I'm saying, to work for a living and stay free and never lose your ability to make free choice. It's okay to walk away, because a lot of times I think that we don't, you know, a lot of us get into our religions and get religious when we get locked up. And if that's the truth, a lot of us know that the Bible tells us a man that can't control himself, you know what I'm saying, he meets his destruction. Exactly. You know what I'm saying, by not being able to control himself. And that's with everything. That's with your words, that's with your actions, that's with your temperament, you know what I'm saying, you know, and everything that comes with it. I think that we have to stop making our black men feel like the junk that I'll say it this way. Our music, people say there's no power in music, but music is words. And we all know that there's power in words. And every time
it's the most influential
all the time. Most influential. Let's go half on the baby, but R. Kelly don't make you want to fight. It make you want to
go half on the baby.
I mean, go half on the baby. It might be an F word, but it ain't the same F word. Exactly. But the truth of the matter, in all seriousness, is there is power in words. And so this rap music is the words that are sending the subliminal messages and making our young black men think that it's that's where it's at and that's what it's about. And really what happens is a lot of times you sit back and you see a lot of our black men being given the opportunity and the monies and the contracts and all this exposure to push that agenda. It's by design, bro. It's by design. I think it's going to take real stand-up guys that aren't scared to actually truly move out of the way of the bull crap and be consistent in their demonstrations as to how real men carry themselves. You know, and a lot of times we don't realize that when we go behind them gates, bro, when we go behind them prison walls, and our getting up and going to sleep, when we go to eat and all of that is governed by somebody else. We're not men. We're males at that time because we're identified only by our number and or last name. You know what I'm saying? You know, and now we can't go in the refrigerator and grab a beer and go sit down on the couch and channel surf by choice.
Exactly.
Whenever you willfully give up your right to make your own choices, is something that we have to start pushing to our young men, that you know that's not where you want to be, man. And then I tell everybody all the time, I don't have to be the cool guy in the room no more. I don't have to, you know, I don't want to be seen as the toughest guy in the room and all of that. I'm okay with just being able to get up and go and come as I choose to. And that to me, you can't, you know, free choice, you can't buy that with money.
And I want you guys to know out there that life is about choices. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to live with a lot of your choices. You know what I'm saying? Some of them may be, you know, you have to live with them temporarily. And then some of those choices that you live with, you know, permanent. You know, we think about a lot of those guys, man, that's in prison. You know, we wish they could have a second chance, but that little 30-second choice that they made got them a life big. So we want you guys to know that, man, know life is about choices. And make the right choices with your life so that you don't have to put up with any adversity in the end. You know, a lot of things that the choices that we make, you know, we have to live with the pain and the consequences of them choices. You know, so that's why it's best that we be able to see past the moment, you know, and be able to have an elevated perspective as we can see down the line. If we commit this action, if we put this action out into the universe, then this is what's going to happen. You know, and then we don't want to put ourselves around and engage in the actions as to where, you know, it'll be hard for us to divorce ourselves from bad consequences. You know, so I just want you guys out there to know that, you know, life is about choices. Try to make the right choices in your life so that, you know, it can improve you and make you better.
All the time.
You know, and I wanted to say, you know, because I know you did 10 years in prison. And what was some of the greatest things that you learned in there? And what was some of the deepest adversity that you went through that had an impact on your life to evolve you into the man that you are today?
Well, yeah, to be honest with you, bro, just the idea of going into a system and seeing all the horrors of the things that go on inside a prison. I've seen everything from stabbings to attempted suicide. I've been in situations, man, where, you know, hey, I was nervous about what the outcome could possibly be. And luckily, some of those situations were diffused. I had a couple squabbles, you know, while I was in there. The main thing for me about it was, you know, everything that I was seeing, everything that I was learning, I was taking it in. But one day I just happened to be at a facility where I was able to actually walk close enough to the streets to actually hear somebody say, "Hey, how you doing?" And I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, we weren't supposed to talk back, but you know, I actually was that close to the streets and realized how far I was from my freedom. And that blew my mind, because I literally, you know, if I had a rock, I could have hit the car. It was that close to me, and even though that car was that close to me, that person was that close to me with their freedoms, and I was that far from being free, and I was that close to freedom, and I was like, I can't do this. And then there was a situation one time when I was in the higher levels. where a riot situation jumped off, and they put us on lockdown. You know how that, and they put us on lockdown. We were in the room for almost a day and a half, with no access to using the restroom. And I was like, I'm in a situation right now where I can't even go to the restroom by choice. And I thought that was also, as degrading as it was probably one of the greatest freedoms that I said I would never want to lose again. And you know what I'm saying? Because how do I put myself in a situation where I don't have the right to use the restroom when I want to go to the restroom as a human being? So
right, it really puts you in a. I mean, it just breaks you down mentally.
Oh man, yes.
You know, you have to be in to do a dime. You know, guys I done seen, man, that then went, and lost themselves mentally. You know, because prison is only built for the strong. You can't be weak. Because it's designed to break you down. It's designed to belittle you. It's designed for you to be a straight underachiever. And as you come out here into the world, and it's the thing, with artificial intelligence, everything is expanding with artificial intelligence. I tell guys, when I talk to my friends in prison, I tell them, man, think of what you want to do when you come out here. Don't talk about you're going to come out here and you just want to get a job. Might not be no jobs out here when you get out here. So even with that, we have to come up with our own creative avenues as to where we can journey down, because a lot of jobs is being taken through AI, and a lot of our brothers that's in prison, and for anybody that got family and friends in prison, reach out and tell those guys, try to come home and create something of their own.
Right.
Because like I said, a lot of jobs and stuff is leaving, and you got your own business too. You're truck driver. You got your. How did you get started in that?
Well, when I came home, I came out the gate. Got 2 jobs, and I used to work for Buffalo Wild Wings. I was trainer, and I used to open up stores for Buffalo Wild Wings, and I just always had the mindset that this is only temporary. I'm gonna do better. I moved to another one. This is only temporary. You know what I'm saying? So I saw myself go from I think close to like $12 an hour. Next thing you know, I'm making $16 an hour. Then I started driving diesel tankers, and now I'm making upwards of $30 an hour. And then one day I kept seeing these guys with these car haulers. And so I walked over to the brother. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
If I want to know, I gotta ask. So I walked over to the brother.
Gotta fraternize and be no questions with people.
I walked over to the brother, and he was very engaging. He just started kicking it with me, and he started doing the numbers, and he's like, well, we both had to go, so he gave me his card. So I jumped in the car. I called him on the phone. I said, man, can we finish the conversation? So we talking, and he's giving me these numbers and everything. And I went home to my best support system, and that's my wife. And I told her, and we, she was and then, she knows my passion. She knows my drive. And so, a couple weeks we were talking about it. She was like, okay, well, if you think we're going to do it, let's pull the trigger. And so, prayed about it, stepped out on faith, and started Lawrence Logistics.
Lawrence Logistics, man. And that's a big responsibility, driving them 18-wheelers too. And it's a lot of people that's doing that in today's world. And that's one of the ways, as for us as black men, it's one of the ways that we can be successful in. Is,
very much.
Coming out those, because a lot of guys come home from prison and they become truck drivers.
Right.
And
it's one of the most felon-friendly industries that you can get into. And I tell people all the time, don't let people discourage you by saying, oh, you won't be able to do this and you won't be able to do that, because a lot of times the same things that people will tell you won't be successful at or able to do, they haven't done their research to confirm that you don't have that opportunity. So
and not saying that just because you can't do it don't mean I can't do it. You know, and a lot of people relate their situation and their circumstances upon you when I'm able and I'm have the capabilities to do it. You know, you might not have it, you know, so like I say, everybody's not going to be doing the same thing, you know, you can't do what everybody else do, you know. And I know one of your passions, man, is that, you know, you came up, you love dancing. You know, let's talk about that, man, for a minute. You came up through that break dancing there, man, getting it, you know.
You ain't telling me you was going to go there. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of surprises.
The dancing thing, man, was really crazy to me because, you know, I remember when I very first ever even wanted to dance, right? Yeah. There was a group in Saginaw called the Universal Dance Machine, right? And I used to see these guys and I used to just be amazed at these guys, right? And then one day on Soul Train, they had a group called the Shabadoo Dancers on there, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I think I want to dance. And now my interest is peaking more and more and more. And then there was a group in Saginaw, old school group, IBA, International Boogaloo Association. Mm-hmm. Kurt Gilliard, Clarence Gilliard,
man,
Big,
that's some history.
You know what I'm saying? Big Tony Mays, Maurice, you know what I'm saying? Maurice McLean. No, not Maurice last. What was Maurice last name? Oh, I'm so sorry, Maurice. And Joe Cage. And once I saw these guys dance, I was like, oh yeah, that's what I'm finna do. That's what I'm finna do. Because IBA was just, they were like up here, you know, the IBA and the Rockets was like up here. And you had a lot of good groups around here. Kano, SOS, you know what I'm saying, Pop Connection. Everybody was doing it, and so me and my one of my good friends, Dwight Haynes, we came up with our own style, and everybody fell in love with us, and you know, and it just, I don't know, dancing just came natural to me, and it was one of the outlets that I had that got me a lot of recognition, you know what I'm saying, and attention, especially with girls, because you know, you dance in the shows, the girls, you know, whatever, and so so that just was one of my come to find out, it was one of my natural talents, you know what I'm saying, and it ended up benefiting me in the end, because you know, everywhere I go now, as soon as Planet Rock come on, somebody like, Chuck, bust that move. And I love it, man. I love it. But sometimes, man, I just be wanting to drink my apple crown. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just chill.
But man. But dancing is just one of the funnest ways of having enjoying yourself and having a good night, some good music and dancing, man, and there you go. You know, it don't have to be hard, man. Just
and it's therapeutic. You know, a lot of people get a lot of therapy through dancing.
Yep. And did you? I don't know if you noticed the other night at the cabaret, man. They did the Soul Train line, and
I seen that.
Everybody had a ball.
I seen that, man.
And that's the type of energy that everything that I try to throw in the city, from the kickball game to a cabaret, you know what I'm saying? I'm just, that's the type of energy that I'm trying to project. I don't want the negative. I don't want the negative narrative. Just, you know, it's just about enjoying life now, having fun. You know what I mean?
And I know when you throw your cabarets, you know, you very strict, very disciplined. Yeah. And not saying that you don't want everybody to come out and enjoy it.
Right.
But you trying to protect those ones that's coming to party with you.
Very much.
And you know, you might be 38, you might be 39, but it's too young. You gotta be 40.
Yeah.
Why you chose 40 as your set age to, people, party goers to come out and party with you?
Well, even with the kickball game, you know what I'm saying, it was 40 and over. And what it is for me, there's a lot of things under the umbrella of the events that I try to accomplish. And one of the things is demonstration. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to become known for is, because of my ignorance and my bad choices in my past. Now I want to project and be an example of something positive. So to show our youth a building filled with that many people, from 40 to, I think I may have had from 40 to 70 in that building that night. You know what I mean? And what did you get? No incidents, no arguments, all love and
just
fun.
a bunch of class and grown folks.
Just you know, and we were able to do that in tennis shoes and t-shirts, bro. And so one of my partners came over to me and he said, "Hey man, there's a couple young girls in here and they got bad, you know, because it was a cash bar situation." And so I walked up to the young ladies and I was like, "Hey, you know," and both of them told me that they were 32 years old, and I said, "Hey, you know, this is a 40 and over event," and they were like, "Yeah, I know, but please don't make us leave." And I was like, "I have to, because if by chance something happens and you guys are involved, the age demographic that I want to appeal to won't have trust in me, because you guys were in here, it was supposed to be 40 and over, and no matter what, by the majority of us being 40 and over, and then you say just by chance two 32-year-olds get into a situation, they're gonna blame it on the younger crowd." You know what I'm saying? Because those are gonna be the two that were out of place. So I try to stay strict on age. I don't allow the arguing, and whatever, you know, I push all of that out of the building immediately. I don't allow a build up in the parking lots, because we all know a lot of times the parking lot is really truly the problem.
Exactly.
Because you already got the people that aren't interested in the party itself anyway.
Right.
So that's why they're in the parking lot.
Right.
So I try to keep my parking lots clear. I try to always have extra security. I would rather have more than not enough. And just be able to provide for the older crowd the idea that, hey, when he says it's slacks and shoes, it's slacks and shoes. You know, if he says it's 40 and over, it's 40 and over. And they don't tolerate, you know.
And I think that's what I think a lot of party promoting, a lot of clubs kind of like messed up their business that way. You know, because it started out, we're going to do the grown and sexy, we're going to do the 40 and over, right? But then the 40 and over, the turnout don't be that good.
Okay.
So now I have to go with the younger crowd in order to keep these bills paid.
True indeed.
You know, and I know as a party promoter like you, and I know as a, you know, with throwing these cabarets, you want to keep everybody safe, you want to keep everybody comfortable, you know, you want to keep everybody having fun.
All the time.
You know, and with this younger generation, you know, and all this alcohol and things like that, you know, sometimes things do get belligerent. I tell you all the time is that young people and alcohol don't mix, man. Too much alcohol, man, for young people, man, it don't mix, man. You know, you have a lot of chaotic situations going on, you know.
Well, you know, it comes back to the idea that we have this stereotypical image that we want to follow now. We got this. We push this agenda of being tough. We push this agenda of don't resolve. You know what I'm saying? Just respond. We push this agenda of you know, and I hate it where you might see some of our young black women, they're fighting, and then you know you hear the voice of the person that's recording it, and it's another guy. So we don't have guys actually stepping up in the way that we should step up, instead of stepping in and saying, "Hey man, come on, man, y'all, you know, y'all women, y'all ain't supposed to carry yourself like this, man. You know, y'all going, you know, have a good night." We don't have those stand up and step up type of guys no more, and then we don't have the kind of guys that'll encourage each other to stand down. You know what I'm saying? You know, hey bro, that's not worth it, man. You're gonna throw your life away. You're gonna throw your life away about a word. You're gonna throw your life away about he got a girl that, you know, now he's with the girl you used to be with. Man, you know, we don't say, man, leave that junk alone, man. You know, going at that guy because of what side of town he lives on. You know what I'm saying? You know, and my thing to a lot of guys is, and I said this to a young guy not too long ago. I said, okay, let's say this goes completely bad. I'm your sentencing judge. Explain it to me where I'm gonna let you go. All you gotta do is explain this situation to me that's going to make me that. And if you know automatically, if you were standing in front of this judge, as you call him, and your case is presented or your explanation of the situation is presented, you're not going home.
Exactly.
Then you know it was wrong to be involved in. And that's what we have to start doing with our youth, is leading by example and then engaging with them, because a lot of young people wanted to participate in the game last year, but like I told them, you guys can come and watch us be examples to y'all, and then take from this what you saw. You know what I mean? And I'm not patting myself on the back for what turned out last year, but I am happy about how it turned out, and I think that me and everybody in the city of Saginaw should be absolutely proud of what we did.
Yeah, you definitely should, because it was a nice turnout. So what's on your vision for 2023?
Well, 2023 is going to start, we're pushing the agenda of peace, and because people know that that's what I'm trying to push and bring our culture together. Me and a young man, he has a group called Bike Life Saginaw. On May 20th, we're gonna try to get every single person in the city with a bike to come out and do a ride for peace.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna be part of that. I ride, so you know I'm gonna be riding with y'all.
I appreciate it. And with every person that joins on, like yourself, it becomes more of a statement. It becomes more of an example. So he and I are gonna he and I are partnering on that. August 19th, we will be doing the kickball game again in the city of Saginaw. We got a lot of great things going on with that, a lot of great additions to that, and a few outside cities want to pour into Saginaw and actually compete. And then on that Sunday, to give back, we're gonna do a free picnic in the park. We got some great guest speakers are gonna be there and that'll be August 20th. And we got some a couple great performers gonna come out there and give a couple selections, and then it'll just be a time in which we just come together as a community. You know what I'm saying?
And peace and harmony.
And peace, harmony, and a hot dog.
And that's all that we need. You know what I'm saying?
And let Saginaw start to be seen and known for something else other than the violence and the division. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I got you. And you have a lot of older guys. They look down to the younger guys, and it's more like in this generation with what you're doing. It's so relevant, because, like I say, the older generation is looking towards the youth now, and it's like the youth is carrying the flag.
Okay.
And you were saying about, a lot of people, they be calling themselves an OG.
What's that?
But OG don't mean original gangster to you.
No.
It mean things that you have outgrown.
All the time.
You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about that a little bit, man.
Well, it's just like the terminology sag nasty. I think that we really don't pay attention to the power in words. I don't believe that Saginaw is nasty. I don't believe Saginaw is dead. I don't believe Saginaw is lame.
Exactly.
All these negative narratives that people put and when somebody says OG to me, it only means outgrown. Because how can you be an original gangster when you were born into this world, you didn't know who you were. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even know if we were a boy or a girl coming into this world. We were born into this world, and we didn't know anything about this world except for what we learned as we got older. And as I've gotten older, I detest a lot of the things that I learned. So that wasn't who I was originally. It was what I learned.
To relearn some lot of stuff. Yeah.
It wasn't who I was at first. It was what I learned and became. You know what I mean? So now if you approach me and you say, "Hey, what's up, OG?" It has to stand for the things that I've outgrown. I don't have an interest in probably 90% of the things that I used to focus on, except for my dancing and having a good time.
Having a good time,
life. That's it.
And incorporating everybody else
all the time.
And the theme of my show is "We better together than separated." Give me some of your thoughts on that.
that better together separated is exactly how we should be looking at each other, because we can't pick and choose when that is actually proper. Because I'll give you an example. During the George Floyd uprising, we were unified. As soon as that died down a little bit, we went right back to the old behaviors.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Guys were shooting, women were twerking. You know what I'm saying? And that to me, you know, was upsetting, because right at that point in time, unfortunately, you know, because of something so ugly, we had an opportunity and an agenda that could play out in our favor so greatly. And then, like I said, when you think about the idea of your experiences and my experiences of incarceration, it's our responsibility now to come out here, speak on the idea of what it means to be free and unified versus to be incarcerated and forced to be unified. You know what I mean? And so the benefits are tremendous when we make those choices out here. You know what I'm saying? We only have what? We only have a wake up and go to bed when you're incarcerated. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that this is something that we have the opportunity to give our youth now, from the standpoint of experience. Most of the things that are relevant to me have been taught to me from experience. Even with my company, I learned these things, and these are things that I was taught by people that were already, you know, in the industry. So the idea of we're stronger together than apart is just like saying, you know, there's power in numbers. You know what I mean? That's exactly. And I'll give you a good example. How good of a time did we have at the cabaret the other night?
Man, a wonderful time.
And weren't we in numbers?
Yep.
You know what
everybody,
I'm saying?
And full house.
Yep. And so you had, and in there, guess what you had? You had Ricker. You had a couple BV. You had Arthur Eddie. You had Central. You had Weber. You know what I'm saying? And that's everybody from all over the city in one building. And that was the outcome.
Man, beautiful. It was beautiful. If you guys missed it, you missed a heck of a celebration. Make sure you catch the next one. And here on Life Chronicles, we don't celebrate Black History 28 days out of the month. We celebrate Black History all year round. Today, we have Chuckie Lawrence sitting here. He's celebrating. He's creating his own Black History with what he's bringing to the community through his kickball, through his you know, being a community philanthropist and bringing people along with him, you know. And when he could have easily just, you know, did it himself, gained all the credit himself, but he understands the value of togetherness. He understands about bringing other people with him. He understands that, you know, he has compassion for other people, you know. So I want to ask him, you know, what does Black history mean to you?
Black history means the fact that we all have somewhere where, you know what I'm saying, somewhere where we came from. Every one of us has a history. Our ancestors have a history, and in doing something to show homage to all of the atrocities of times past, in reference to our race of people, doing something positive, you know, promoting the education and the awareness, and creating something that, you know, could possibly, even if you don't live your life to see it manifest itself, you know, later on in years, it has a quality and a benefit going forward. That's what it's about to me.
And you know, I just ask, you know, that as Black people, you know, we you know, just put yourself in motion. You know what I'm saying? Whatever your ideas, whatever those hunches that's been telling you, whatever that sixth sense been just poking at you and telling you to do, you know, just start executing in life. You know, and before we get out of here, I just wanted to talk about one thing, because, you know, we was just talking about that, you know, how sometimes, you know, you can poke at a sleeping bear, you know, and that sleeping bear tell you to, you know, I don't want no trouble. you know, and that you steady keep poking at that sleeping bear, and then next thing you know, you wake that bear up, and then that bear get to growling, and that bear eat your ass up, you know. So what I wanted to talk about with Chuckie is that, you know, it's okay, and a lot of people look at like when a person say I don't want no trouble, or you know, I don't want to be a part of that they weak, they it's no problem, like they not tough, or you know, and they looked at as a weak individual. And it's not about me being weak, it's just the fact about that I got things to live for, you know, I got a lot to lose, you know, and I've been through a lot. You know, and once you've been down that road of adversity, going to penitentiary, fighting in penitentiary, fighting on the streets, you know, you get to that point where you say, hey, it's time to do something different. You know, and a lot of people, they don't want to respect that. They want to see you in that same light. They want to see you as that same old Chuckie Lawrence before you went to prison. You know, they don't want to accept you for the man who you are today.
I tell people this all the time, that the probably the toughest man in the world is the guy who can walk away. The guy who doesn't mind if you see him in any other shape or form, you know, than who he wants to be. You know, I think one of the most dangerous things is to force a person to react to you. You know, but again, that's a narrative that we as kings, as black men, we have to let our young men know a lot of these narratives and these, you know, these things that we're talking about, like, you know, and then, you know, again, it's simple, leading by example. Leading by example. That's, you know what I'm saying. That's it.
And you know, with what he's doing, he's definitely leading by example. You know, and I want to thank him, man, for coming in here, man, and coming to the show and blessing us, man. You know, with these words of encouragement, man, and you know, I just want you guys out there to be able to take a page out of his book. You know, he's bringing the community together through his cabarets, through his kickball tournaments. He has a lot of things going on. And, you know, we need more people like him. You know, we need more people. You know, he just got a genuine heart. He's compassionate about his city. He loves his city, you know, and he just wants to see his city moving in a different direction, in peace and in harmony. You know, so today, I just want us to be able to just practice peace and harmony and just being able to love on your city. You know, in order for this city to get back to where it's supposed to be, it got to get back to where it's supposed to be through us, through the love, the kindness, and the care that we project on each other. You know, if we project in hate, if we always project in animosity, you know, on our neighbors within the city, then the city is just going to be chaotic. Right. You know, so we have to pull together in peace, love, and in harmony. You know, so this is another edition of Yacht Life Chronicles, where we are better together than separated. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Peace.